This morning, I want to remind you of something powerful, something that has the potential to shift your entire day. Life, with all its demands and distractions, can feel overwhelming. But here's the truth. Every day is an opportunity to connect with something greater. It starts with a simple act, an act of surrender, an act of power. Starting your day with prayer is a powerful tool that can set the tone for everything that follows. The way we begin our day often shapes how we experience the rest of it. If we wake up to a flood of negative thoughts or overwhelmed by the tasks ahead, we can easily be consumed by stress before we even step out of bed. However, when we make prayer the first thing we do, we shift our mindset and align ourselves with a higher purpose. Prayer, as the first action of the day, helps us center our thoughts and prepare our hearts for whatever the day may bring. When we wake up, the world can feel chaotic. Work, responsibilities, and challenges demand our attention. But in that moment, before the noise and demands start to invade, prayer provides us with a quiet space to refocus. It allows us to connect with God and realign ourselves with His peace. Instead of diving straight into our busy schedules, prayer helps us slow down and recalibrate. It's an opportunity to breathe, to pause, and to recognize that we are not alone in whatever we face. The simple act of praying at the start of the day also gives us the strength to confront challenges. Each day comes with its own set of trials, and we never know what we might encounter. But through prayer, we draw on God's strength rather than relying solely on our own. Prayer empowers us to face obstacles with confidence, knowing that God is walking with us. It helps us remember that we don't have to tackle everything on our own. We can trust in God's guidance, His wisdom, and His presence. Moreover, prayer brings clarity and focus. In the morning, our minds are often filled with distractions, thoughts of everything we need to do, everything we want to accomplish. But when we pray, we clear that mental fog. Prayer refocuses our energy on what truly matters. It reminds us to trust in God's plan for the day, even when we don't have all the answers. We start the day with a sense of direction, allowing us to move forward with purpose, rather than being swept away by the unpredictability of life. Starting your day with prayer also strengthens our connection with God. The first moments of the day are precious, and by dedicating them to prayer, we affirm that our relationship with God is a priority. Prayer is not just about asking for things, it's about building intimacy with God, seeking His wisdom, and inviting His presence into every area of our lives. When we make prayer a regular practice in the morning, it becomes a foundation for a deeper relationship with Him. It is an acknowledgement that we need Him, that we trust Him, and that we rely on His strength to navigate the day ahead. Additionally, prayer helps us cultivate an attitude of gratitude. As we wake up and acknowledge God's presence, we are reminded of the blessings we have: our health, our loved ones, the opportunity for a new day. This gratitude sets a positive tone, allowing us to approach the day with a sense of hope and thankfulness. Rather than focusing on what's missing or what's wrong, prayer helps us focus on the goodness that is already present in our lives. Through prayer, we allow ourselves to be grounded and centered before the demands of the world begin. It shifts our perspective from one of worry to one of faith. Starting our day with prayer is an intentional choice to seek peace, clarity, and strength. It's an act of trust, a reminder that with God's help, we are empowered to face whatever challenges come our way. Prayer connects you to divine strength and guidance, reminding you that you are not navigating life's challenges alone. In a world that often feels overwhelming, where problems seem to pile up and obstacles appear insurmountable, prayer offers a direct line to a power far greater than ourselves. It is in these moments of connection with God that we tap into a divine strength that can carry us through our hardest moments. Prayer is not just a way to ask for help. It's a means of aligning ourselves with a force that transcends our limitations. When we pray, we invite God's presence into our lives, asking Him to guide us through the complexities of the day ahead. We often face moments where we feel lost or uncertain, not knowing what the next step should be. Prayer is the tool that provides clarity in those moments of confusion. It's in those quiet moments of communication with God that we receive the guidance we need. Prayer doesn't always provide us with immediate answers, but it offers a sense of peace and trust in God's plan. The act of praying allows us to release the pressure of trying to figure everything out on our own and instead trust that God is guiding us every the way. When we seek His guidance, we acknowledge that His wisdom is far greater than our own understanding, and we open ourselves to His direction. As we pray, we draw on divine strength to face the day's challenges. Life often presents obstacles that feel too difficult to overcome. We can feel drained, overwhelmed, and exhausted by the demands of the world. But prayer reminds us that our strength is not limited to our own abilities. In those moments when we feel weak or defeated, prayer is the lifeline that pulls us through. It connects us to a source of strength that renews us, replenishes our energy, and empowers us to keep moving forward. It's in prayer that we find the courage to face whatever comes our way. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a tough decision, or an unexpected challenge. When we pray, we also invite divine peace into our hearts. Life can be chaotic, and it's easy to become anxious or fearful about what the future holds. But in the stillness of prayer, we find peace that surpasses understanding. Prayer allows us to release our anxieties, worries, and fears, placing them in God's hands. It's in this surrender that we experience a deep sense of peace, a peace that doesn't come from the absence of problems, but from the presence of God. When we pray, we are reminded that no matter what happens in our day, God is in control and He will guide us through it. Furthermore, prayer keeps us connected to our purpose. Life can sometimes feel directionless, especially when we are caught up in the busyness of everyday tasks. But prayer reminds us that we are part of something much bigger. It helps us stay focused on our purpose, whether it's fulfilling a calling, serving others, or living in alignment with our values. Through prayer, we realign ourselves with the divine purpose that God has placed in our hearts. It keeps us grounded, centered, and focused on what truly matters. In every aspect, prayer is the bridge that connects us to divine strength and guidance. It is the anchor that keeps us rooted, the fuel that propels us forward, and the peace that calms our hearts. Through prayer, we tap into a source of power and wisdom that empowers us to navigate life's challenges with confidence, clarity, and peace. Prayer brings clarity and focus to our lives, especially in the chaotic, fast-paced world we live in today. In the midst of distractions, the noise of daily tasks, and the constant pressure to perform, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Our minds can become cluttered with worries, doubts, and endless to-do lists, leaving us feeling overwhelmed and directionless. But when we turn to prayer, we create a space to quiet the noise and center our minds. Prayer allows us to step back from the demands of life and realign our thoughts and actions with purpose. It gives us the clarity we need to move forward with confidence. In the early moments of the day, when we take the time to pray, we set the tone for how we will navigate the challenges ahead. Prayer allows us to reflect on our priorities, reminding us of what is truly important. It helps us focus on the bigger picture rather than getting lost in the small distractions that can derail our day. By starting with prayer, we place our attention on what truly matters, our faith, our purpose, and our relationships. It is in these moments of reflection that we gain clarity about the direction we need to take and the decisions we need to make. The power of prayer also lies in its ability to clear our minds and calm our thoughts. When we pray, we let go of the tension that builds up from the constant demands of life. The stress, anxiety, and fear that often cloud our thinking can be released through the act of prayer. As we bring our concerns and worries to God, we experience a sense of peace that helps us think more clearly. It's as though the clutter in our minds begins to settle, allowing us to see the path ahead more clearly. Prayer helps us shift our focus from what we can't control to what we can. It allows us to take a step back, gain perspective, and approach the day with a calm and clear mindset. Moreover, prayer provides us with the wisdom we need to make informed decisions. In the midst of uncertainty or confusion, prayer connects us to God's guidance, helping us see things from a divine perspective. It's easy to be swayed by our emotions or impulses, but when we pray, we invite wisdom that transcends our own understanding. Prayer helps us weigh our options and discern the best course of action, ensuring that our choices align with our values and purpose. Through prayer, we become more attuned to the voice of God, learning to trust His guidance in every area of our lives. Additionally, prayer strengthens our ability to stay focused on our goals and intentions. It helps us prioritize the tasks that truly matter and gives us the energy to tackle them with purpose. In the midst of a busy day, it's easy to become distracted by unimportant matters, but prayer keeps us grounded. It helps us stay aligned with our goals, reminding us why we are doing what we're doing. It renews our sense of purpose and determination, giving us the clarity to keep moving forward. Ultimately, prayer is a powerful tool for gaining clarity and focus. It quiets the noise, calms the mind, and brings our attention back to what truly matters. When we pray, we create a space for divine guidance, wisdom, and peace to fill our hearts and minds. It helps us navigate life with intention, clarity, and a clear sense of direction. Through prayer, we are empowered to stay focused on our purpose and move forward with confidence. Prayer reminds us of our purpose and helps us stay connected to the deeper reasons behind our actions. In the midst of everyday life, it's easy to get caught up in the cycle of tasks, deadlines, and external pressures. We often focus on what we need to do, what we need to achieve, and what others expect from us, losing sight of the bigger picture. Prayer serves as a powerful reminder that life is not simply about completing tasks or meeting expectations, about fulfilling a deeper purpose that aligns with our values and God's plan for us. When we begin our day with prayer, we intentionally reconnect with our purpose. It's a moment to step away from the distractions and center ourselves on the things that truly matter. Prayer helps us reflect on our motivations, our goals, and the impact we want to have on the world. It serves as a grounding force, reminding us that every action, no matter how small, can be aligned with a higher purpose. Whether it's a simple task at work, a conversation with a friend, or a moment of service to others, prayer helps us approach each moment with a sense of meaning and intentionality. In addition to connecting us with our personal purpose, prayer also helps us stay focused on the larger purpose that God has in our lives. It's easy to become distracted by the pressures of the world, especially when things don't go as planned. However, when we pray, we are reminded that we are part of something greater than ourselves. Prayer helps us recognize that our lives have significance, that we are here for a reason, and that our actions have eternal value. It's a reminder that our true purpose is not defined by external success or worldly achievements, but by our relationship with God and the way we live out His calling for us. Furthermore, prayer helps us stay aligned with our values. The world often pushes us to conform to its standards, leading us to prioritize things that aren't truly important. But prayer centers us on what truly matters: love, compassion, integrity, and faith. It helps us assess whether our actions are in line with our values or whether we've veered off course. Through prayer, we ask for guidance to stay true to who we are and to make choices that honor God and reflect His love. It becomes a daily recalibration, ensuring that we are living according to the principles that matter most. Prayer also gives us the strength to overcome challenges in pursuit of our purpose. The road to fulfilling our calling is often filled with obstacles, doubts, and difficulties. We may encounter setbacks or moments of uncertainty, questioning whether we're on the right path. But prayer strengthens our resolve, reminding us that we are not walking this journey alone. It helps us lean into God's strength, trusting that He will provide the courage and guidance we need to continue moving forward, no matter how difficult the road may seem. Through prayer, we tap into a divine strength that empowers us to keep going, even when the journey feels tough. Ultimately, prayer serves as a constant reminder of our purpose and helps us stay focused on what truly matters. It connects us to our deeper motivations, aligns us with God's will, and gives us the strength to persevere. By starting each day with prayer, we ensure that we are living intentionally, grounded in our values and aligned with our higher calling. Prayer is not just a way to ask for things, it's a way to realign our hearts, minds, and actions with the purpose God has set before us. Prayer empowers us to face challenges with confidence, even when life feels uncertain or overwhelming. Each day brings with it its own set of difficulties, whether they are personal struggles, professional obstacles, or unforeseen circumstances. It's easy to feel defeated when confronted with challenges that seem insurmountable. But when we turn to prayer, we tap into a source of strength and courage that allows us to rise above these challenges. Prayer is a tool that equips us with the confidence to face whatever comes our way, knowing that we are not facing it alone. When we pray, we invite God's presence into our lives, and through that presence, we are reminded that we have a powerful ally by our side. Prayer reminds us that we don't have to rely on our own strength alone. In moments of fear or uncertainty, we are given the confidence to stand firm, not because we are capable in ourselves, but because we know that God is with us. Prayer connects us to a divine power that transcends our human limitations, and it's this connection that empowers us to face even the most challenging situations with courage. Moreover, prayer helps shift our mindset. When we pray, we release the burden of trying to figure everything out on our own. We acknowledge that we don't have all the answers, but we trust that God does. This shift in mindset frees us from the pressure to control everything and gives us the confidence to move forward with trust. Instead of focusing on the obstacles in front of us, we begin to focus on the God who can help us overcome them. Prayer helps us to change our perspective from one of fear and doubt to one of faith and hope. It allows us to view our challenges through the lens of God's power and provision, rather than through our own limitations. In addition, prayer strengthens our resilience. Life can be full of setbacks, disappointments, and difficulties, but when we pray, we are reminded that these challenges do not define us. They are opportunities for growth and for God to demonstrate His strength in our lives. Prayer allows us to lean into our faith and find the resilience to keep going, even when things get tough. It's in prayer that we find the strength to persevere through trials, knowing that each challenge is not a roadblock, but a stepping stone towards something greater. Prayer helps us to develop a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities for God's power to be made manifest in our lives. Prayer also gives us the clarity and focus needed to face challenges with wisdom. In moments of difficulty, it's easy to become overwhelmed by emotions, confusion, or fear. But prayer helps us clear away the mental and emotional clutter, allowing us to approach the situation with a clear mind. Through prayer, we receive God's guidance, helping us to see the best course of action and make decisions with confidence. Prayer gives us the courage to take steps forward, even when the path ahead is unclear, knowing that God's guidance will light the way. Ultimately, prayer empowers us to face challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for God to show His faithfulness. It gives us the strength, confidence, and resilience we need to navigate life's difficulties with faith and determination. When we pray, we are reminded that we are never alone in our struggles, that God is with us, guiding us and empowering us to overcome whatever challenges come our way. Through prayer, we tap into a divine strength that allows us to face each day with confidence, knowing that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Prayer helps us cultivate an attitude of gratitude, shifting our focus from what is lacking to what is abundant in our lives. In a world where comparison, desire, and dissatisfaction often dominate, it can be easy to fall into the trap of focusing on what we don't have or what we wish were different. But when we make time for prayer, we are invited to pause and reflect on the many blessings in our lives. Prayer creates a space where we can express our thanks to God for all He has provided, helping us to see the good in every moment, even when things feel challenging. The act of praying helps us acknowledge that everything we have is a gift. From the smallest moments of joy to the larger blessings in our lives, prayer reminds us that we have much to be grateful for. It's easy to take things for granted, especially in the busyness of life, but prayer grounds us in gratitude, reminding us of the goodness that surrounds us. It shifts our focus from our struggles to the many ways in which God has already provided. As we reflect on these blessings, we begin to feel more content, more at peace with what we have, and more aware of the goodness of God in our lives. In prayer, we are also reminded of God's faithfulness. He has been with us through every season of life, through the highs and the lows, the moments of joy and the moments of hardship. When we take the time to reflect on this faithfulness, we cultivate a deep sense of gratitude. We remember that God has never left us, that He has guided us through every trial, and that He has always provided for our needs. This remembrance fosters an attitude of thankfulness, as we acknowledge that even in the hardest times, God's presence has been constant and His provision has never failed. Furthermore, prayer helps us develop a deeper sense of humility. As we take the time to give thanks, we recognize that we are not self-sufficient. Everything we have, everything we are, is a result of God's grace. This realization fosters humility, as we acknowledge that we are dependent on God's goodness and mercy. Prayer teaches us to let go of pride and recognize that our blessings are not of our own doing, but are gifts from God. In this humility, we grow in our ability to give thanks for what we have, even when circumstances are not ideal. As we pray and cultivate gratitude, we also become more aware of the ways in which we can bless others. Gratitude has a way of opening our hearts to others, allowing us to see their needs and offer help where we can. Prayer helps us focus not just on our own blessings, but on how we can share those blessings with others. As we express our gratitude to God, we are also reminded that we are called to be a blessing in the lives of those around us. Prayer helps us open our hearts to others, fostering a spirit of generosity and service. Ultimately, prayer shifts our focus and helps us cultivate an attitude of gratitude that transforms our perspective on life. It teaches us to focus on what we have rather than what we lack, and helps us see the abundance in our lives. Through prayer, we develop a deeper sense of humility, acknowledging that everything we have is a gift from God. Gratitude becomes a natural response, one that spills over into every area of our lives, creating peace, contentment, and a spirit of generosity. Prayer opens our eyes to the blessings that surround us, shifting our hearts toward thankfulness and helping us live with greater joy and purpose. Prayer strengthens our relationship with God, deepening our connection and allowing us to experience His presence more fully. In our busy lives, it's easy to get caught up in the demands of the day and forget to nurture our spiritual relationship. Yet prayer is the bridge that connects us to God, allowing us to communicate with Him and build a stronger bond. Each time we pray, we are inviting God into our hearts, opening ourselves up to His love, guidance, and wisdom. It's through these moments of prayer that we truly come to know Him more deeply. Through prayer, we not only speak to God, but also listen to Him. Prayer becomes a two-way conversation, a sacred exchange where we share our thoughts, desires, fears, and gratitude, and in return, we hear from Him. It's in the quiet moments of prayer that God often speaks to our hearts, providing direction, comfort, and encouragement. We may not always hear a loud, audible voice, but in the stillness, God's presence is felt and His guidance becomes clear. The more we pray, the more attuned we become to His voice, recognizing His leading in our everyday lives. Moreover, prayer allows us to grow in intimacy with God. Just as any relationship requires time and communication to grow deeper, our relationship with God flourishes when we make prayer a regular part of our lives. When we pray, we create a space for God to reveal Himself to us, for us to experience His love and grace in a tangible way. It is through prayer that we build trust in God, knowing that He listens to our every word and cares about every detail of our lives. This trust grows over time as we see God's faithfulness in our lives and as we come to understand His heart more fully. Additionally, prayer strengthens our faith. Each time we pray, we are affirming our belief in God and His power. We are expressing our dependence on Him, acknowledging that we cannot do life on our own. In moments of prayer, we submit ourselves to His will, trusting that He knows what is best for us. As we continue to pray, our faith is strengthened. because we experience firsthand how God answers our prayers, providing for our needs and guiding us through challenges. Prayer builds a foundation of faith that carries us through difficult times as we remember that God is always with us and will never leave us. Prayer also fosters a deeper sense of peace. When we bring our burdens, anxieties, and uncertainties to God in prayer, we are reminded that He is in control. The act of surrendering our worries to Him brings a sense of calm and comfort, knowing that He will take care of us. Prayer helps us release the weight of our problems, placing them in God's hands and trusting that He will provide the strength and wisdom we need to navigate life. This peace doesn't depend on our circumstances, but comes from the assurance that God is with us, guiding us and working on our behalf. Ultimately, prayer deepens our relationship with God by allowing us to connect with Him on a personal level. It is in prayer that we experience His love, guidance, and peace, and through it, our faith is strengthened. The more we pray, the more we come to know God's heart and experience the fullness of His presence in our lives. Prayer is not just a religious ritual, it is the lifeblood of our relationship with God, allowing us to grow in intimacy with Him and experience His transforming power in our lives.